Hey everybody, we're back for another testimony about the Ascend program. And we have my friend Joseph Abeckett with us this time. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name's Joseph Beckett. 23 years old. I'm from Bay Area, California, and I just finished my second Ascend quarter, and I'm going to a third quarter.
All right, going into the third. What inspired you to join Ascend and continue?
Well, I struggled a lot with sexual integrity in high school, but then when I went to GPA, somehow I kind of just stopped struggling with it. I did GPA for 3 years, and then uh, also afterwards. So in 4 years total, I just it kind of like wasn't a problem. So my mindset for a while was like, yeah, I don't need high noon. Like I'm okay on my own. Um, but then about a year ago, I started going through a lot of emotional stress, a lot of difficult challenges I haven't gone through before, and I started relapsing, and I redeveloped one of my habits, and my biggest focus after GPA has been preparing for the blessing. Of course, working on my sexual integrity is one of my biggest priorities. So that's why I initially wanted to do high noon. And what I wanted to gain from high noon was I wanted to get a better understanding of my internal triggers, what was causing me to want to act out, and just learn how to manage it in a healthy way, not just to prepare for the matching, not just to so I could be clean to start the process, but so that I can continuously develop my sexual integrity for the rest of my life.
Cool. Yeah, yeah. So you really came with the intention of building your sexual integrity, right? For finding internal like reasons that brought you back to a habit that you didn't see fit anymore, right? For the future you're envisioning for yourself.
Yeah.
So joining and having been through Ascend, now what are some of the key lessons that you were you able to find those internal triggers or other lessons you're able to learn?
At first, it was pretty hard to understand my triggers. I talked a lot with my mentor. I'd say I was pretty consistent with my like reflections, but it was still like pretty hard to pinpoint it. It felt pretty vague for me for a while. And I'd say like something that kind of changed that was at some point my mentor, Andrew Love, he encouraged me to send reflections and messages like whenever I felt like tempted or like really emotional. Because what I was doing was just reflecting at the end of the day and then sending reflections, which was good. I was consistent, but it's kind of just like I feel like I wasn't really going anywhere with it. So once I started like sending him messages, like when I was like those emotions of feeling tempted or feeling like a lot of emotions, I felt like I could reflect a lot better. I could understand myself better. It also helped me to create a habit of connecting to someone when instead of like isolating myself. Yeah, I guess what I learned from that, the lesson. Well, yeah, I learned about myself. I learned that a lot of why I want to slip up or act out is because of a lot of like my negative self-talk and yeah, a lot of like negative voices in my mind, and yeah, through talking a lot with Andrew, and also through doing therapy beforehand, I realized it had a lot to do with my relationship with my dad. Yeah, I'm not to blame my dad, but just like my relationship with him has been a lot of like, yeah, I feel like he's always kind of pretty critical of me, I guess. That's kind of how I feel like I grew up. I was aware of that before I did Ascend, but I feel like through talking with Andrew, through reflecting, I could see more clearly how that directly translated to me wanting to act out. And also that was kind of just like missing, I was lacking like parental love in my life. And without that, I was like searching for a way to fill that up.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you mentioned, yeah, so some of the lessons that you were able to learn and mentorship, right? That mentorship really helped you having somebody to check in with,
Yeah.
not only on a daily basis, but really utilizing it almost like customizing it to your need, right? Like messaging whenever the need arises and
Right.
responding to that necessity. What were like the most helpful components in a sense? What helped you most in a sense? You mentioned mentorship and that was that. And do you want to say more about that, or was there something else that was helpful for you?
I definitely appreciated the calls, talking to people, and the content. I'm not gonna lie though, the past semester or the past quarter it was kind of hard to be consistent with the calls because it was the summertime and lots of different things going on. So I would say like I feel like the most impactful thing was the mentoring, the mentorship. Yeah, to say more about it, I guess I felt like for the first half of it, I was kind of like, I guess not like fully committed to working on my sexual integrity. It was, I knew I wanted to work on it, but it wasn't really making it a priority. I wasn't so serious about it. It's kind of just doing the check-ins. Once Andrew like encouraged me to start messaging more, it kind of just challenged me to take it more seriously, and I felt like it became more of a priority for me. It was definitely a way that I felt a lot more accountable, and it just like pushed me to reflect more and go deeper, make my sexual integrity more of a priority. So it was really
Yeah.
helpful.
Yeah, that's cool to hear. And you're mentioning kind of the ratio, right, of how much the program can do and how much of it is your commitment, right?
Mhm.
How much would you say that your commitment towards the program impacted your experience?
Yeah, definitely. I think once I started doing that, once I was more committed to it, I was gaining a lot more from it, from checking in with Andrew. I think when I was kind of just putting like half effort to do it. Like I was doing it, which was good. I was putting effort, but like I said, I wasn't really like gaining so much from it. I wasn't really going anywhere with it. But then once I started like really committing to it and putting more into it, I definitely saw that I was learning more about myself. I was also just having more meaningful discussions with Andrew and just pushing myself more.
Mm.
So definitely better experience.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, it sounds like that. Yeah, your level of commitment really influences the experience of the program, right? Regardless
Yeah,
of components. Of course, it's one side of the experience, but that really tinted right by the glasses you put on uh,
right.
the commitment.
Also the same way like I wasn't so committed to the calls. And then I didn't gain that much from it. It was nice, but like yeah, I guess the opposite's true too. If you're not so committed, then
Mhm.
it's not as meaningful as it could be.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a bit like, and anyway, we've been going on about this sports and fitness analogy in High Noon recently, but it's like a fitness, like a gym membership, right? That lots of people get at the start of the new year, and then the curve is really high and goes down like really fast, and people keep the membership so that they can say, "I'm going to the gym," but actually, all they have is the membership, but they never go and they never use the weights. Something that was helping you was the mentorship and the program in a sense, but also kind of prior work you've been doing in therapy and healing, right? So, like
Hmm.
I heard you say some things were a little bit more technical and maybe like mechanics, like of messaging and mentorship and um, kind of the mechanics of how to curate habits, right, in your life. And then
But
kind of beneath that, or hand in hand with that, was kind of the stuff you've gone through, the healing you've gone through already, things you've realized about your parent-child relationship, right? Um, do you want to share a bit more about how that has impacted your recovery?
well, my relationship with my parents is something I've been working on for a long time. I'd say since, well, I guess even before GPA, but I think I saw the most growth on GPA. But then afterwards, yeah, I've been doing therapy. Well, I only did it for about like a few months, but then it got kind of expensive. But yeah, it's something I've been working on, talking to a lot of different people, different mentors, my therapist, and also even yeah, in High Noon, talking to Andrew a lot about it. I guess it's kind of just, I guess something that is talked a lot about in high noon is that it's not just about not acting out, but healing. Yeah, I definitely feel like that's been my goal is to heal, not just not just like get rid of my habits. So that I can see really clearly that I can't just force myself to stop acting out. The goal is to like get to a point where I feel fulfilled in my life, and like the desire to act out is kind of just there's no need for it because I feel so fulfilled. And I can see that my relationship with my parents is a big part of that. Yeah, that's what I've found a lot in the past few years is how important it is to understand your relationship with your parents. And yeah, I'd say in the past like month or so, I've seen some improvement in my relationship with my dad. Yeah, it's a challenging relationship that pushes me a lot and to grow. And I see it as a also as like a great way to prepare for the matching blessing, working on like my own understanding my own emotions and also learning how to take responsibility in a relationship, even when I feel like I'm right, learning how to even though I feel right, even though I feel hurt, learning how to not blame the other person, not complain, and learn how to take responsibility over what I can take responsibility over. Yeah, I think it's a valuable skill, valuable experience. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Did that experience help you understand your own emotions more and like where they come from and how to respond to your
Working
emotions?
relationship with my dad.
Yeah. And then the therapy in relation with your dad. Yeah.
Doing therapy helped me understand. Yeah, I guess there's just like so much stuff. If you go into therapy, there's like so much content, so much different like theories and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, I felt the need to do, sorry, I'm maybe going a little bit off, but
Mm,
um I felt the need to do therapy because I was talking to a lot of like church leaders about
mm,
my relationship with my dad, which was helpful, but I felt like there was kind of a limit to it when you only look at it like from a spiritual aspect.
mm.
Um, and I felt like there's so much more that I wasn't really, I felt like my perspective was really narrow. Like I needed more context. And so talking to a therapist and just explaining so many, I can't explain everything, but there's just so many different things that go into like a parent-child relationship and someone's trauma. And learning about that definitely helped me to understand myself and understand my dad a lot more, why he does the things he does, why the things he does makes me feel so negative, and how to manage those negative responses, not just push them down. I feel like I definitely am more aware of when those negative emotions come up, and I've gone a lot better at letting them go as opposed to what I used to do was like negative emotions come up and I feel like, oh, I shouldn't be feeling this, or I kind of just dwell on it. Like my dad says something, does something, and then it bothers me, and I just let it fester in me and keep on going. Um, and I think everyone like knows that you shouldn't do that. Like you shouldn't keep negative emotions in you, but without like a someone to help you do that process, for me at least, I found it was really like it was almost impossible to learn how to do that on my own. Yeah. And I feel like that is really related to sexual integrity as well, learning how to deal with negative emotions.
Has that link between your emotions and sexual integrity become like more obvious to you, or what's that relationship for you now?
You said, oh yeah, negative emotions and my sexual integrity, are
Hmm.
they linked? Yeah, I mean, I definitely see that. Yeah, it's definitely more clear than it was before. I felt like before it was very foggy and it's like hard to, it's just like very vague. I'm still definitely in the process of figuring it out. And yeah, I think there is more to understand about myself and that connection between my emotions and acting out. Sorry, I don't know if that answers the question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, the reasons why I was like leaning a bit far at the window and asking about the therapy, right, and your healing experience, just to kind of highlight the importance, right, and the necessity for healing in the process of recovery of sexual integrity. And
Hmm.
it was just interesting that for you that it's been there, kind of prior to Ascend, and it was curious to hear how that experience, right, has impacted your recovery in sexual integrity, and it's
Hmm.
giving you some foundation to work on, like making that connection between negative emotions and how you react to them, right? And how you respond or
Right.
escape from them, right? If there's no process of dealing with them in a healthy way. Um, but back to the original Ascend, and I guess yeah, it's just how do you think has Ascend and anything, right? The program itself, the previous experience you've had, how has that helped you address your shadows and continue your recovery and healing?
I feel like I kind of mentioned most of it already. But I guess yeah, the main things, yeah, through talking to Andrew, talking to my mentor, through just reflecting consistently, I feel like I have a, a more clear understanding of my root issue or my internal triggers. Yeah, and I feel more clear in how to move forward. Yeah, through talking with my mentor. And I think just the act like through taking the time and committing to just do all those different things, reach out to a mentor has made sexual integrity more of a priority in my life. It's something I'm getting more and more serious about. And yeah, especially this past quarter, I feel more hopeful. I mean, I'm still struggling, but I can start to see, yeah, hope for being able to recover. I know the first quarter I did it was kind of just like I felt like I don't know because I was clean for 4 years and then I started struggling again. I was like, damn, I don't know if I can do this again. Like,
Mm.
so, but I feel more hopeful now.
Now, where do you feel like you're at now? I mean, feeling more hopeful after Ascent. What's coming next for you?
Yeah, I mean, the two main things I want to really focus on moving forward is trying to find ways I can be fulfilled, I guess, genuinely fulfilled. That's one, and the other one is connecting to uh, more father figures in my life, um,
Mm.
because that is something that's difficult for me. Yeah, and for the first one, um, yeah, I just like moved around some parties in my life. Like I was doing carp for a long time, and there's nothing wrong with carp, but I felt like it was kind of just at this point in my life, like I felt like if I continue doing making carp so much of a priority for me, it would be harder for me to work on things like my career and preparing for the future, preparing for the blessing. Also just investing in my relationship with my family.
Mm.
So I decided to take a step back from carp and I'm doing yeah other things. Yeah, like my career, doing youth ministry. My goal moving forward is that I want to create like a new baseline for me to be able to baseline of like experiencing God's love, like finding I want to find ways that I can fill my spirit with God's love and create habits that I can continuously um yeah, like things I know I could go back to fill my spirit with God's love and be fulfilled so that these kind of things aren't um a part of my life, my these addictions and temptations and those kind of things. And yeah, working on father figures is something I'm exploring.
Yeah, it sounds like there's so many different fields now that you'll be investing into, right? And growing
Yeah,
into, and you have certain goals, and that's really amazing. You have a vision of some of them and have different approaches and different angles to your growth that can come together.
right. That Yeah, that's kind of how my mind works. Sometimes it's helpful, sometimes it's kind of confusing,
Mhm.
but I usually like my goals are never just one thing. It's always like a bunch of different things.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I hope they impact each other and spill over into each other, and it creates a surplus of experience, surplus of growth in all
Yeah,
these areas.
I think so. So,
All right. Well, we're good to wrap up here. Thanks, everybody. And thanks for sharing your testimony about your Zen experience.